Hello and welcome to Salty About Health. My name is Dalaney Algier, and I'm here with my mom and co-host, Mary. So, Mom, why are we salty about health?
Good question. It's because both of us have had struggles, some more serious than others, and no one showed us simple ways we could jump into the driver's seat and take control.
And why are we sharing our views with our listeners?
Well, because we want our listeners to realize that it may take time, but with some simple knowledge about health, they'll be able to make a few changes and dig deeper to take control of their well-being and live a more vibrant life.
That's fantastic. But right now, before we get into all of that, we just need to do some housekeeping. Here we go. This is an opinion-based podcast. This is not in any way offered as a diagnosis or treatment for any disease, illness, or infirmity for physical or mental condition or any other condition you may have. We are not doctors or practitioners of any kind. Persons needing medical care should obtain it from a medical practitioner. So, consult your practitioner before making any health decision. The opinions offered here in this podcast are ours alone. Again, we're not doctors, and the banter you're going to be listening to is our view and our view alone. Okay, that's done. We, of course, also want to have an open dialogue with our listeners. So stay tuned to the end of the episode, and we'll let you know all of the ways that we can connect. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about essential oils, cautions to be taken when using them, and what conditions they can be used for. Then we'll wrap up with an interview with a friend of mine who sells essential oils. So, Mom, what do you think about essential oils?
Oh, I think they have a lot of benefits. They can be a great addition to your toolkit for optimal health. So we'll start off by defining what an essential oil is. But let me say now that the subject of essential oils is so large and broad that we will only be giving you an introduction to them today in hopes you will dig in and research this topic for yourself. So before factories produced medicines, people relied on natural remedies made with plants, such as essential oils, derived from the leaves, stems, flowers, bark, roots, or other elements of the plant. They are aromatic compounds that form deep within plant cells, providing plants with protection from disease. These oils were sacred to ancient Egyptians and central to India's Ayurveda practices, and they were used extensively by Roman and Greek physicians. Essential oils, contrary to the use of the word oil, are not oily feeling at all. They are technically not an oil, as they do not contain fatty acids. When using them, it is best to combine them with a carrier oil. Otherwise, they tend to evaporate quickly from your skin. Carrier oils can be coconut, avocado, jojoba, or any healthy oil you use on your skin.
Is that how you say that word, jojoba?
I think so. That's the
so cool.
Spanish way.
I just spent my life up till now thinking it was like jojoba.
Oh, no. I'm pretty certain it's jojoba.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That makes more sense because I was like, this is a strange word. Got
it. When we lived in Arizona, there were fields of jojoba.
Really? Oh, wow. Wait, so what does the plant look like?
You can look that up real quick, but okay. I think it's like a giant, what do you call that? Aloe or something like that. I think that might be what it looks like. What's it look like?
Whoa. It looks like an olive tree.
Okay, I was wrong.
olive bush? I don't know. It's all close-up pictures.
Okay, you'll have to send me that link.
Okay. Well,
so it looks nothing like an aloe plant.
No. More like juniper tree, sage tree kind of vibe. Yeah, no, the
Okay, I'm
little
gonna have to look this
jojobas.
up.
Wait, really? Oh yeah, there's a picture of there's a picture of the bottle I have of it. That's cool. It's like olives met a date tree and meshed together. Yeah, it's a little happy bush. Okay, sorry. I digress. But I was very fascinated with the jojoba, and I'm very proud of that. Now I can say it. So I'll let mom continue.
You may want to check that on the dictionary that has a little symbol for sound next to it and make sure that's exactly how it is. But that's how I've always grown up knowing it. Okay, so essential oils are rich in chemicals like phenols and monoterpenes and ketones. These plant chemicals are called plant essences, and referring to the fact that they carry some of the plant's natural ability to resist bacteria and other attacks. Phenols are especially potent against bacteria and some viruses. This makes essential oils such as oregano, eucalyptus, cinnamon, clove, and thyme famous for fighting germs and supporting the immune system. They can also produce desirable mood influences on humans. So when these are pure, non-corrupted oils, they are called therapeutic grade essential oils. Since the 1930s, researchers around the world have been documenting the powerful antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antifungal, antiviral, and antiparasitic effects of therapeutic grade pure ingestible essential oils. These can be inhaled or ingested with caution or applied topically. Even when diluted, essential oils kill bacteria that antibiotics do not. Essential oils are especially valuable as antiseptics because their aggression toward microbial germs is matched by their harmlessness toward body tissue. That being said, some essential oils do make you sensitive to the sun and can irritate some people's skin and mucosa.
That's interesting. But also on the side of them being very helpful, have used them I had a sty in my eye one time, and it was really cool, I guess, how aggressive they are at attacking that. Obviously, I couldn't put it in my eye, but I just kind of cupped my hand over it to, I guess, kind of fumigate the area, right, with the oil. And it actually pushed the like grossness of the sty out of my eye. That's like how aggressive it is without even being like skin contact. That was just, through the air. It did that. It was really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And that was a book we're going to mention later that I had given you. And we
Yes.
were talking about it, and you looked that up and
Mm-hmm.
did as directed what they said, and
Mm-hmm.
it worked beautifully. And just the other night, I actually had one on my left eye,
Oh
kind
my
of in the
gosh.
middle on the bottom, and I thought of that. I said, oh. So I went to the book to see what oil, and it was lavender.
Mm-hmm.
And to put it on your hands and then to cup it over your eye, and I haven't had a problem since.
That's fantastic. And is it like, it took me, I was probably doing it for like 3 days or so. Like it took a little bit, but then it just completely wiped it out. It was really great.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that later too, how potent essential oils are.
Cool.
So they do sound like they are a cure-all for everything, but you also need to know, you need to do your research before you start using them. And I neglected doing that and just started using them and found out just how powerful they are.
Oops. What happened?
Exactly. I was using way too much of one of them. I thought, well, if a little's good, a lot must be good.
Mm.
And I started, I went up to like 9 drops, not knowing how potent. And I'm not going to say the one because it is very potent. And I woke up dizzy in the morning and I couldn't figure it out. So for 2 mornings, I was like really dizzy and just kind of out of it. And it was the essential oil because I was using way too much of it.
I have a way too much story that we can cut out if we don't want to talk about this subject, but I have a friend whose mom is in a state where marijuana is legal, and she uses it for medicinal purposes. And so she was making an edible with the oil, and she forgot to wear gloves while making the edibles. And it was like a hand rolled, like peanut butter ball thing. So she spent a few hours hand rolling the oil into the edible, and then proceeded to not be able to go to work the next day because she was so out of it from all of the I get THC oil, right?
Well, is it
THC in the
medical
oil.
marijuana or is
Yeah.
it, I mean, it's legal. So yeah, it's marijuana. So
Yep.
it's THC.
Yep. So yes, she like felt a little weird after that and like just went to bed early. And then my friend was calling her, and finally her sister had to go check on her, and they're like, what, like, where have you been? And she'd been sleeping like all day because she just totally got too much in her system. So yes, there can be too much.
Yeah, well, there can be too much of anything.
Yeah.
And what I find about that is when you do your research on medical marijuana, they do have problems with edibles, not because of how your friend's mom was making them, but because of the distribution. If you put it in a recipe and you make, let's say, gummy bears or something out of it, they can't really control the distribution of the actual THC in there. You know what I mean? So you're putting in these individual gummies, and one gummy tests usually for a lot more than the other one. So that is a problem with the edibles for medical marijuana, or probably any kind of marijuana. If people are making brownies or whatever, it's still, you're not distributing it equally. But I did read something about marijuana, about the after effects, that there is no hangover. That's one thing. It clears the system. I mean, you can pick it up in a blood test, but then it's, you don't have, like, if you were drinking too much, that kind of hangover. It's just gone kind of thing. You just
yeah. And I think she just then, like, you know, had to take a day of rest, and then she was fine after. So
yeah. So I learned the hard way, which led me to writing everything down and researching it before I start using or applying anything. And that's not only essential oils, but that's anything. So I did buy 2 books that were very helpful in understanding essential oils. And the one where you got the recipe for the sty was from the book Surviving When Modern Medicine Fails, a definitive guide to essential oils that could save your life during crisis. That was by Dr. Scott Johnson. And the other essential oil book that I have is Essential Oils, Natural Remedies, the complete A to Z reference of essential oils for health and healing, paperback. It's, you know, in paperback, and it's Althea Press. So those 2 are very helpful guides, and they go over a lot of information you should know before you start using essential oils.
And the one that we both have, the Surviving When Modern Medicine Fails, I like it because you can use it as a more of a reference book or like a manual. So you don't have to read it straight through. And it's set up as like, oh, like, I have this issue, let me look it up. And then it talks about it and tells you which ones to use very simply, and like, and the different ways you can use it, if it's going to be topical or like aromatherapy or internal, if you can, stuff like that. So I like how it's set up and very simple. Yeah.
Yes. And they're both going to be in the show notes. And so I urge people to go and look at the links and decide, you know, that, or which one of those they like best, or any kind of book about essential oils. I think that's important that people read a little bit about it before they go. And the book we were talking about also gives just a graph of all the essential oils and the contraindications and things. So that's simple to look up too. So you don't have to look up each one. You just look at this chart and you can just whiz down and see, okay, this is the essential oil. Does it have a severe contraindication with anything? So let's talk about a few things you should consider before using essential oils. Okay, so if you are pregnant, you may not want to start using essential oils. Some have abortive effects. A few examples are sage, sassafras, and wormwood. And wormwood is a very popular antiparasitic.
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, and sassafras, that's interesting. So can you not drink root beer when you're pregnant or should not?
Interesting. If it's the true
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
sassafras, then
Hmm.
maybe you should look into that. But nowadays, is ginger ale real ginger? I mean, I don't know how much ginger is really in there, and if it's
Right.
just the flavoring.
Right. That's true. That's interesting. I actually have a bottle of like sassafras, I guess, concentrate for making tea at home
Oh,
because
that's cool.
I really like the flavor, and we've done that before too. We found sassafras root in the woods and we steeped it in water, and it was like root beer flavored tea, and it was really delicious.
Yes, yes.
But anyways,
So I encourage people to do things like that, but perhaps if you're pregnant, that wouldn't be a
yeah,
good thing.
that's really interesting. Okay. Another one, there are essential oils that shouldn't be used at all, even when highly diluted. Two of which, again, are sassafras and tansy, which I have heard of tansy oil. I don't know what it's used for, but I've heard of it.
I know, and I bought pennyroyal a few years ago, and I thank goodness I looked that up, and it said don't use that. These are essential oils. Now, the sassafras tea and things like that, it's a little different. These are very concentrated,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the potent part of the plant that they're putting into, that makes up the essential oil.
Right.
And that's why I can't stress that enough. Literally, what made me sick a few years ago before I started researching was using too much. When I
Mm-hmm.
am have an issue, especially if you're just sick, this one oil just does really well. 1 or 2 drops
Mm-hmm.
max in a carrier oil. So it's again the poison is in the dose, right?
Yes.
So 1 drop is okay. 9 drops would not be,
Not okay.
because then your liver's trying. Oh my gosh, it's like, what are you doing to me?
Yikes.
Okay, so cancer patients can be helped by essential oils, but some should be avoided if you have cancer. Examples are aniseed, basil, bay, fennel, star, anise, to name a few. If you have estrogen dependent cancer, some to be avoided are citronella, eucalyptus, lavender, lemongrass, and verbena.
And the I don't know, I just got stuck on the bay because I know bay leaves are also used in cooking, but we always like, oh, you can't eat it though. Like you can put it in the soup, but you got to find it and take it out.
I think that might be because they're just really hard and
Oh,
they would
really?
hurt if you ate them,
Oh my
or like
gosh.
maybe tear up your esophagus a little if you
Oh my
ingested them. Yeah, if
goodness.
you take a bay leaf and break it, it's very sharp. So I
Okay,
think
you had me all worried. Mom had me growing up thinking it was like poisonous if I was gonna eat it and I would die or something.
no, I think it's because you don't want to eat it because it's sharp.
Hmm.
Um, it would not be fun.
Okay. Well, I guess in my, I don't know, 3-year-old head, it translated into I could die.
It's just kind of like when your grandmother told me not to touch a pressure cooker and we
Yeah.
were all going to blow up. So,
Oh,
yeah.
and I have a pressure cooker now, and I was slightly worried about that. So I think I inherited that worry from you guys.
Well, we can talk about that in another episode
Yes.
about epigenetics and genes and things like that. And they talked about what did they do to white mice? They did something
Oh
to
yeah,
white
they did
mice
something, and then it
for
shows
three
up your
generations. Yeah,
yes, your current
without
fears. Hmm.
without exposing the baby mice to whatever that fear
Yes.
was, and
Hmm.
it lasted 3
Yeah.
generations. So that
So,
was pretty cool.
anyways, speaking of generations and such, when using essential oils, also use half strength preparations for children, which makes sense. I think it's the same for normal medicine doses as well. Like any children medicine is not as strong. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it would be body weight, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Also use caution when using steam inhalation to children 12 years and younger. Don't have sessions go over 1 minute when administering to children. And during the research, I read a lot of things about 3 and under, not really using, definitely not using inhalation and not using a lot of essential oils
Mm-hmm.
on children 3 and younger.
Okay.
There are exceptions. And in that book that we were talking about, it's very good and it goes into detail about things like that. But I didn't realize how that can damage their lungs.
I mean, they are still developing, so that makes sense. But also on the flip side, also use half strength for the elderly and fragile. I think it's, kind of for the same reasons. It's what their body can handle, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And some essential oils stimulate menses. So you would not want to use them while pregnant either. Some examples are ginger, myrrh, German chamomile, fennel, clary sage, cinnamon, peppermint, Roman chamomile, and rosemary.
Okay, this is a silly menses. Is that like menstruation? What is that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And you are a female, right?
I am. Okay.
I
Good to
guess,
know.
what do you say?
Oh,
Having your period?
stimulate.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
stimulate I guess menstruation, is that not a word? Did I just make that up?
Yes.
Cool.
No.
Oh, it is a word? Okay.
That is a word.
Okay, that's what I would have called it. But I like menses because it's more subtle. I appreciate it. You should also know what essential oils cause drowsiness. Some include clary sage, hyacinth, lavender, marjoram, neroli, sandalwood, valerian, and
It's a lang lang, is
lang
what I
lang. I
say.
knew it. I was like, I know the Y is silent. Okay. And lang lang.
And how is that spelled?
It has a Y at the beginning that is silent.
Yes, so it looks like ylang ylang. And I think some people do say that, but I'm pretty sure it's just lang lang.
Okay.
They'll know what you mean if you go to the store. But if you're looking for it, yes, look under the Y's. Yes, and some essential oils have warnings on them that they cause drowsiness and not to operate large equipment. And I love lang lang. And if I can't fall asleep, I'll put a few drops of that in a carrier oil, and I fall asleep in minutes every time.
Wow.
No fail.
So is that something you can use more often than, say, melatonin? Because I know, at least off the podcast, you and I have talked about how if you constantly use melatonin to help yourself sleep, your body stops producing it as much because you keep just making it appear for your body. So is this
I don't know. I've done more
do?
research on that, and I do take melatonin, and they're starting to come out with a lot of research how it prevents cancer, things like that. So they also say that people with gray hair probably have less melatonin in their bodies. So there's been a lot of research on melatonin, and we'll have to do an episode on that.
Okay.
I don't take lang lang every night because it's only on nights that I just cannot sleep. But I think it's probably wise not to figure out the issue. If you're not being ill, if you can't sleep, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And maybe that should be addressed.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I laughed at the gray hair thing because I have one and I'm upset about it. I have one gray hair.
Yes, I feel for you if you take after your father's side.
Yes.
I'm almost 60 and I don't have gray hair. That's just genetics. That's just downright genetics. But his side, they were all gray by the time they got out of high school, I think.
Like in high school. I think his younger brother went into high school with a full head of gray hair. Anyway.
So melatonin may be a good option for you for cosmetic reasons.
Cosmetic reasons. That's great. Oh, Okay. Another thing to be aware of is that those with epilepsy need to be cautious when using essential oils.
Okay, and avoid the sun for 24 to 48 hours when applying photosensitive essential oils. Some are bergamot, grapefruit, lemon, lime, ginger, tangerine, and other citrus oils.
So what does it do if it's photosensitive?
Oh, it makes you burn. It
Oh,
makes your skin
okay.
burn.
Okay. It gives you, okay, I didn't know. So now that we have everyone scared of essential oils, what are some good things that can help?
I know, right? Most listeners are probably terrified, but essential oils can be helpful. And what I love about them is that you need very little because they are so powerful. First, let's go over a few ways to use essential oils. You can diffuse them. A cold air diffuser that uses ultrasonic vibration to break the oils up into a fine mist is recommended often. And your now husband gave me one for Christmas, which I use in my office.
Oh, that's great. Then it really works. I don't know. I guess we should get one too. We don't have it.
I like it. I'm not one to do a lot of smells in the air just because you never know what anybody's really sensitive to.
Mm-hmm.
So I do when I'm here at home and know that nobody else is going to be around.
Okay. Another one is direct inhalation. You can put a drop on your palm and rub your palms together and then inhale. And again, you need to know which essential oils not to do that with.
Yeah, and that's what you did for the sty in your eye.
It is, but yes, I put it on my palms and then just held it over my eye. So, same idea.
I remember when I was visiting quite a few years back, and that one of my eyes hurt, and you had told me about that, and I had done that way back then also.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it works every time. Yeah. Hot water vapors. Add boiled water to a bowl and add a few drops of essential oil and drape a towel over your head and the bowl and breathe. Again, make sure the oil you are using can be used that way.
And of course, there's topical. Again, you want to add a carrier oil and rub the oil in on the bottom of your feet. Some of the ones I've used have also, you do it on the location if it's for like a bruise or something like that. So again, read the directions.
Yeah, it can be location specific, especially if you're doing anything topical or some kind of compress for sprained, or pulled muscles. But if you're just using it to get over something like a cold or you need to sleep, they do say put it on the bottom of your feet. They say that's the best place. I do not do it because then walking across a hardwood floor leaves, and then they say, well, you can put socks on. So I usually do it on my abdominal area, but you'll find where you most like to put essential oils on. You can also put them in a bath. So you draw a warm bath and add a few drops of essential oil, which is wonderful. I do that every time I take a Epsom salt bath. Essential oils are great to add to that, and the Epsom salt gives you the magnesium that you need. So, and relaxing for the muscles.
Yeah. You can also add some oils to your shower products, like your shampoos or liquid soaps, or get liquid soap that maybe already has it in there. I feel like there might be places that do
tons.
That. Yeah. So.
And of course, you can take some high-grade essential oils orally, but I would recommend you get guidance on this method, as essential oils are so powerful. And again, we're not doctors, so we're asking you to do your research.
Yes, we have to. And even like for the sty thing, if I have another one, I'm gonna have to go look up how to do it again. So I always look up before I do something, even if I've used it before, just to make sure I didn't forget something important.
Because I was a horrible example and I never did. And you saw how many times I failed.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about that. I wasn't around for the 9 drops of death. So, but okay, let's now talk about some of the conditions that essential oils are used for.
Yes, there are many, many conditions and issues essential oils are recommended for. And I have been successful using them, especially after I bought some of the books that we were talking about, giving me exact recipes for the conditions that I was trying to clear up. And this is not an exhaustive list, even though you may think so. It's a bit long, but actually they have an essential oil for any kind of ill. But here's a list of things people use essential oils for, though again, not exhaustive. Allergies, anxiety, arthritis, asthma, athlete's foot, bronchitis, canker sores, constipation, dandruff, depression, dermatitis, diarrhea, ear infection, edema, erectile dysfunction, flatulence, fleas, GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux, gingivitis, grief, hair loss, headache, hemorrhoids, herpes simplex virus, hot flashes, hypothyroid, infection, insect repellent, insomnia, parasites, jock itch, kidney stones, low energy, Lyme disease, menopause, motion sickness, muscle aches, nail fungus, nausea, norovirus, oily scalp, Parkinson's disease, pneumonia, restless leg syndrome, ringworm, scarring, sciatica, seasonal affective disorder, smoking cessation, stomach flu, stress, sunburn, tendinitis, tinnitus, warts, yeast infection, to name some.
Wow, that was a long list. But now we are going to talk with Jessica Klingbaum, and she is the founder and essential oils educator from Be Hip and Healthy. And so we're going to find out how she got into selling essential oils and why she enjoys it so much.
Well, why don't we have Jessica start out just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
Are you going to record? You are recording.
I am. Yep. Just in the flow.
So I have such like a random story. I actually, for 20 some odd years, worked in TV as a network news producer. That was what I did straight out of graduate school, and worked for CBS News for a while, then in syndication, then Fox News and Fox Business, and a few different places. And it was like a super exciting, fast-paced career, but also high pressure, really stressful. Just the running a live news show every day is really intense. And as you might imagine, it's like I could have the whole show planned out, and then 10 minutes before we're going live, some big breaking story happens somewhere, and now all of a sudden my whole show is going to change on a dime. I had been introduced to essential oils through my sister, but initially I could not have been less interested because my dad, who's a radiologist, we were all just kind of laughing at her behind her back. She's always been really holistic and crunchy, and we were like, she's nuts. But somehow she had convinced my mother to try something, and then my mother was telling me, they really work. And I'm like, really? So I tried some just initially for sleep and to kind of decompress before going to bed, because I would come home completely wired from my show, and it was really hard, and it would take me a long time to be able to take it down a few notches to be able to actually go to sleep. And honestly, right away it was working. And I would put this oil in the diffuser, and I would go brush my teeth and wash my face, and I would come out and my room smelled kind of like a spa, and it was very relaxing. And I didn't really understand how it worked, and I don't think I really cared, because it actually was working. And so then from there, I decided to just start asking more questions about the oils and using them in so many different ways. And that was kind of how I got my start. And several years later, just after using them for everything, I ended up realizing that I wasn't so passionate anymore about what I was doing TV wise. But I was really into my essential oils and how to use them and what was going on with them all. And ultimately I quit my job in TV and I became a certified aromatherapist. And here I am now helping educate other people about essential oils.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, that is.
So I have basically two questions. You started off saying that you use some for sleep. Which ones did you use for sleep? And then which ones do you use a lot now? Like, what's your go-to?
Yes. So initially, so the company that I work with and the company that I was initially introduced to is called doTERRA. There are a lot of different essential oil companies out there. That's the one that I'm working with. And so my first introduction was a doTERRA blend called Serenity. And I almost feel like part of the reason why I was open to even using it is because I kept thinking of George Costanza from Seinfeld yelling, "Serenity now, Serenity now." And like, it just kind of made me laugh. But it's a blend and it has lavender in it and vetiver and a few different oils that are a specific blend to be able to help you to relax and sleep better at night specifically. I think they tout it as a restful blend. That was the first one that I used. That was what I put in my diffuser. And to me, the primary scent that I smell is lavender. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard of and know that lavender is supposed to be calming and soothing. So that was what I first used. In terms of my go-to, gosh, honestly, I mean, it's so cliche to say that I love so many of them, but I'll tell you, like, I literally use them from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed at night. So I honestly don't, I think if I had to probably just choose one, and I just want to preface this by saying one of the things that I love and am obsessed with essential oils is the fact that so many of them have so many different kinds of uses for them. It's not like one oil only does one thing. But I think if I had to choose one, I probably would go with peppermint, especially these days when it's so hot out, because peppermint can help cool your actual body temperature down. So on a super hot day, or if you're feeling really overheated, or if someone's having hormonal changes and having hot flashes, or if someone has a fever or needs energy, like if you roll a little bit of actual pure certified pure therapeutic grade essential peppermint oil on the back of your neck or on your back or like, you know, in your elbows or knees in the creases, if you wait a minute, you literally will feel like a cooling sensation in your body. I'm totally aging myself, but do you remember back in the day, those York peppermint patty commercials, and they would like, their hair would be flying back? That's literally the sensation you get when you put on peppermint oil. So I love it and I use it all the time for that. But I will also say, anyone who's ever had a cup of peppermint tea to settle their stomach after a big meal or to help with digestive issues, peppermint oil does that as well. So it has that extra thing and you can use it for that. If you are feeling tired, dragging in the morning to get out of bed, or feeling, you know, like you're in a slump after you've eaten lunch in the afternoon, or you just need a little like zhuzh you up to get some work done. If you just smell some peppermint oil, like you will totally be completely re-energized. It helps also open up your respiratory. If you have a headache, you can rub it on your temples and across your forehead. And like, it just has so many uses. I think if I had to choose one, that's probably what I would use. Now that all that being said, I don't use that to go to sleep at night. You know, I don't use that to relax. So, but it has a million different uses. So I generally always am carrying around peppermint with me.
So does the company that you're working with, do you guys, how did you figure all that out? How do you know, like, to put it into the creases of your elbows and like, or smell it or this or that? Like, how can people figure out how to use them?
So I started getting, you know, when I started using them and started getting really into it, I mean, I started doing kind of some research and reading and just looking for resources wherever I could. That's kind of what led me to then become a certified aromatherapist, which is X number of hours that you have to study and do case studies and write a research paper and learn about the different properties of oils. So for me, it was probably a little bit of a combination of that, but also honestly, a lot of trial and error. Like I knew I don't remember exactly how, that peppermint oil can help cool your body down. Probably someone had maybe said to me like, oh, if you put a drop on the back of your neck, and it really works like literally within a minute or so. So I live in New York City, and I got to tell you, in the dead of summer in New York City, it is hot out. And if you are going to take the subway, which obviously less people are doing these days, but I'm a big subway girl, you walk down into the depths of the subway. I mean, it's literally sweltering down there. So I would carry peppermint like in a roller ball. I mean, I don't know, my elbows and my knees. I probably was like standing there dripping and melting on a subway platform and just was like rubbing it all over. And this is kind of, what I feel like that's where you sweat. You know what I mean? So I think it was a little bit of just, oh my God, I'm going to do this just because that's like kind of where I'm sweating. And ooh, like that totally works. So a lot of it was, like I said, kind of trial and error, learning about the oils. But now when I have customers who come to me to buy stuff, or they'll, tell me, I need something for X, Y, or Z. I mean, part of what I do as a certified aromatherapist and part of what I offer to people as like customer service is all of the resources and the education and how to use. So when someone buys from me, then I say, okay, listen, it's gets shipped directly to you from doTERRA. Text me as soon as you get it. We're going to jump on the phone for half an hour or so. We're going to go through exactly what you have and how to use it. So that'll be the first thing. And then I will gift everyone. There's an app that anyone can buy. It's $9, but I gift it to my customers. And it's literally like you can type in cold sore or, poison ivy or whatever. And it'll give you like what the protocol is for those things. So I'm all about like, I want people to know how to use what they have. And I think that I have books that I recommend. I mean, it kind of depends on how into it someone wants to be. So I always recommend, and you can Google almost anything. The only difference is when I hear people say that they have a certain kind of an oil and it doesn't necessarily work in whatever way, it's just because of the difference of production and, actual quality of the oils. If you're not using a real oil and you're using a fragrance oil, it may smell nice, but it's not going to give you those therapeutic or medicinal benefits that I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's definitely important to distinguish between those, because some people just go in and they'll just grab anything off the shelf and then they kind of get turned off because they don't know why it's not working.
That's exactly right. It happens all the time. Someone will say, oh, I tried a lavender oil once and I didn't sleep better. And so essential oils don't work.
Yeah, that is a shame. So are there any cautions that your customers should use when using essential oils?
Absolutely. And this is also why I think it's so important that when people are buying essential oils, they're actually buying them from someone who has the knowledge to be able to help guide them. You can walk into Bed Bath & Beyond and Target and like buy something off the shelf. And then when you get home, like who are you calling to find out what to do with it all? So there are specific oils you have to be really careful with. For example, citrus oils, lemon, wild orange, grapefruit, bergamot, tangerine, there are a bunch of others. They're photosensitive, which means they react in the sun. So if you're going to use a citrus oil on your skin topically, you should not be in the sun for a minimum of 12 hours afterwards. You will get a really bad sunburn. The phototoxicity is just going to react, and that's just what's going to happen. There are certain oils that we consider to be hot oils that you should never use directly on your skin without using a carrier oil. So an example of that would be clove or black pepper or spearmint. Those all have amazing qualities to them and really good uses for them, but you have to know, like, if you put it right on your skin, you're gonna feel the burn. I mean, it's not gonna like eat your skin away, right, but you definitely don't want to put a hot oil on your skin. And oregano is a hot oil. Like, don't put that directly on your skin without using a carrier oil. I often will use oregano oil internally. First of all, you can use it for cooking if you want to. It's 50 times more powerful than herbs essential oils are. So they're really beneficial if you happen to be a chef and like that kind of thing. But for oregano oil, there are amazing uses for it internally. So I always tell people, like, you can use it. You can go to any health food store and buy empty veggie caps. They're literally like empty capsules. And you can make your own remedies for things by putting essential oils into the capsules and then swallowing them with a glass of water. Have I ever just put a drop of oregano in like a small amount of water and gulped it down? Sure. I mean, if it touches the side of your mouth, like, you're going to feel the burn, you know, but if you're in a pinch, yes. Sorry. The short answer is yes. There are definitely cautions that people need to take, and you need to know what you're buying, and you need someone who's going to be able to help tell you these things.
Oh, that's funny. My friends and I got together, and with everything that's going on, we did oregano shots, as we called them. So we had like water and we mixed it in and did that. So, because I know it has like
super
immune
strong
system help. Yep. Very
it
strong.
It does 100%. I always tell people, like, if you are feeling anything coming down, oregano can help blow out whatever is in your system. And I love that. I actually love oregano. I love the smell. I love the taste. But if I'm ever feeling like I'm coming down with something, or someone around, you know, in the house does, it's like, I'll rub it on my feet before I go to bed. And then it's like, I totally smell like pizza, but I'm like, I feel better. Yeah. But, and in a lot of, if you go to juice bars and stuff, you know, and you buy those kind of juice shots, a lot of them have oregano in it. Just, it's, you know, filtered down with everything else in it. So it's okay to drink. You definitely don't want to be like rubbing it on your skin unless you want to burn off a mole or something.
Oh, I was just curious. So what is your go-to when you get on a plane to travel for your immune system?
That's a great question. So I use a specific blend that's called On Guard. On Guard, and it's going to protect your immune system. And it's literally an immune support blend. And in it, it has clove, wild orange, now I'm like forgetting all of the things that are in it, and I don't actually have it sitting right in front of me, but On Guard is absolutely 100% my go-to. And I love what it does in terms of helping to kind of get rid of whatever you're feeling, if you think there's something coming on. But I have it in my diffuser literally every single night, because I want that passive immune support and breathing it in. And it also, with the clove in it, it has, to me, a really warm smell. It kind of smells like holidays. You know, it's sort of like a Christmassy smell, which maybe I shouldn't say because I'm Jewish, but that's sort of it's very comforting to me. And so I love the smell of it. It smells and, you know, tastes the same. I definitely recommend using it with a carrier oil, because if you want to avoid any kind of skin sensitivity, and it does have some oils in it that I think, you know, especially with the clove, like, you want to be really careful about it. But if you're feeling like any kind of a sore throat like that or anything, you can use it topically right on your chest, right on your neck. One thing that my sister had told me that she used to do is she would bring cotton balls with her on a plane. If she's traveling, she would put a few drops of the On Guard on the cotton ball and then stick it in the vent above her seat. So when the air would blow out, it was like a natural diffuser on the plane, like blowing the On Guard around. So I don't know. I mean, if someone hates the smell, maybe that's not going to go over so well with your seatmates. But I would say 100% On Guard is what I would use traveling. And if I didn't, for whatever reason, have On Guard, then I would try to make a blend like that myself, using oregano and frankincense and melaleuca, which is tea tree oil, which has great antiviral properties and antibacterial properties. I would do lemon, oregano, frankincense, lemon, and melaleuca. I mean, I would use On Guard if I had it also in conjunction with that, but you would just want to use oils that have those specific types of properties to them, you know, antibacterial, antiviral, things like that, to be able to kill germs.
So do you notice a difference between using blends as opposed to just using something singularly? I don't, like, if it's a blend and all of those things are helping whatever ailment you may have, do you think that helps more or the same?
I don't know that I would say it helps more. I mean, I think it just honestly depends on sort of what it is that you're looking for support for. So I would use On Guard. Like I said, I have it in my diffuser every single day. I want that passive immune support. If I am feeling like I actually am, like, I don't know, maybe a little off, or like I said, if someone in the house is coughing, or if I was just out with someone like coughing all over me. Again, these days are different than other normal times. So that's not even what I'm talking about, but just in the past. If I'm out and I'm someplace and someone's coughing in my face, and I'm like, oh, whatever, or like on the subways or something, I would then, in addition to having the On Guard in my diffuser, I would probably start making veggie caps that have On Guard in them, but also the other oils that I just mentioned to you. So I just will like bring out the big guns if I feel like I need that extra level of things. And then I feel like peppermint, if I'm in a pinch and I'm feeling stuffed up, it really will open up your respiratory system. But there happens to be a respiratory blend called Breathe, which also has some other additional oils in it, like laurel leaf and Ravinsara and things that also have those properties. So yeah, I would use Breathe specifically if I have allergies or have a cold or something. But like I would use peppermint if I didn't have it, But to cool my body down, I would just use peppermint. I don't know that there's another better oil or that I need a blend to do something like that. So I really feel like it sort of depends on what you're focused on.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
And what are some easy ways that the listeners can implement essential oils into their lives?
Well, I mean, look, I personally think one of the easiest ways to use oils is by having a diffuser. And a diffuser is not those sticks. People think that's a diffuser. That's not a diffuser.
That's what I was going to ask, because those ones, like with the sticks, I've actually gotten like throat issues from, like I started getting a sore throat from those being around me. So I was going to ask you what the difference was. So.
Well, you could make a reed diffuser yourself using, high quality oils. I would say more likely if you were getting a sore throat and a reaction from it, it might not have been the sticks themselves. It was probably whatever the oil was that they were soaking in. So, but that's not really what I'm talking about. So if they call it a reed diffuser, but it's not, that's not really a diffuser that I'm talking about. I'm talking about a diffuser that you plug in, and it's an ultrasonic diffuser. So you generally will fill it up with water. So easy to use. There's usually some kind of an indicator or a red line on the inside. You fill it up with water. You put in, depending on how big your room is and how long the diffuser runs, 4 to 5 drops of your essential oil. Plug it in, turn it on. Like that's all you have to do. And it mists into the air. It is not a humidifier. It's not going to help the humidity level in your room. It's just a diffuser. And the reason I think that that's one of the easiest ways to use essential oils is because you don't have to worry about things, like I said before, like a hot oil or phototoxicity, or like, can I rub this on myself? Or you don't have to worry about how do I use it on my body? So I think a diffuser and oils, if someone wants to try to relax and be less stressed, the Serenity blend, there's an adaptive blend, which is a new calming blend, which is like life-changing. Lavender, if you want to cheer up, the thing with citrus oils is that they really have emotionally uplifting qualities to them. If you think about it, I mean, it's probably weird because I don't know that you have ever really thought about it, but it's like if you're out and you smell something like lemon, like it does make you happy. You will inadvertently smile even if you don't realize it. So if you have, a citrus oil in your diffuser, that's going to totally brighten up your day, and it's going to make the room smell so fresh and so clean. And it's great, especially like in the kitchen, if you didn't take the trash out or if someone cooked something funky. So I am like a huge, huge fan of diffusers. But other easy ways to use oils is using them on the bottoms of your feet. Sounds crazy, but the pores on the bottoms of your feet are usually bigger than the pores on the rest of your body. So you have less likelihood that you're going to have any kind of an irritation or a skin sensitivity to using something. And if you don't love the smell of something, the bottoms of your feet are not in your face, so you're not going to mind as much. So if you want to sleep better at night or you want to relax, some of the oils even that I've already mentioned, if you put a drop or two in your hand and you rub them on the bottoms of your feet before you go to bed, or to just hang out in your living room and put a pair of socks on afterwards, they'll absorb into your body, which is exactly what you want, and you'll get the benefits of that topical use anyway. So in terms of like, those are the easiest ways I think to use them. Internally is obviously easy. You can add a drop to your water bottle of lemon if you want to drink more water. But that's a personal choice of what people are comfortable with in terms of how to use them. And then lavender is an easy oil to use because it is soothing and calming and relaxing. And I talked about peppermint, already, and lemon can be a great room freshener, if you could put a few drops of lemon on a cotton ball and, strategically place it in the corner of your bathroom, and you'll be really surprised and pleased at how well that's going to make your bathroom smell, So there are lots of easy ways to use the oils. It doesn't have to be a 25-minute commitment every day in order to be able to get the benefits. There's super quick, easy tips and tricks that you can do throughout the day that are going to make a huge difference in your daily life.
Do you have any of your clients using them for serious illnesses or medical conditions?
Yes, but I do always tell people right off the bat, look, I will never tell someone, talk to your doctor. Mm-hmm. I'll never tell someone use this in lieu of what you've been prescribed. But I do have people who in certain areas have been able to reduce their dependence on certain, dosages of prescription drugs for one thing or another. I also make sure that when people come to me for stuff like that they understand there is a comparison, that's probably the wrong word, but that you can use, if you go to your doctor and you I don't know, get migraines and they say to you, okay, we're going to give you this migraine medicine, take it for X number of days or whatever, report back, let me know if it works. And you take it and you're like, you know what, that didn't work at all. So your reaction would not be, oh my God, no medicine ever works, right? You would let your doctor either say to you, let's change the dosage, we're going to up it or lower it, whatever, or let's try this other medicine instead. Maybe this one is not the prescription for you. So I always have to tell people, there is a similarity with essential oils. Everyone's bodies are different. Everyone's bodies react differently and absorb things differently. And what may be the perfect recipe for me to sleep like a log every night might not be the perfect recipe for you. So as long as you're open to the idea and understand that we may have to try a few things to find the right perfect combination for you, then I'm happy to try to help. But everybody has to know you can't be like, I used it once last night and I don't feel better and I'm not, it hasn't made a huge impact, so forget about it. So I just think it's important that people who are interested in more holistic and natural remedies for things really go into it very open-minded. I may want to take Tylenol for my headache and, you may want to take Advil for yours. Okay. Not everything works the same for everybody. I just think it's important for everybody to recognize that. But I've certainly had people come to me with things like thyroid issues or a million things. I don't want to start making it like I can start curing all of these diseases. So I'm going to just stop there. But there is research out there that's been done by National Institutes of Health on the PubMed website where there are clear studies that have been done that show the benefits of essential oils, oftentimes even in conjunction with other things. Doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say it can be a great complement to some of the treatments.
That's
and
exactly right.
I know some of the cancer centers are starting to also offer that plus Reiki and, which is great because it is kind of it is holistic, mind, body, soul. So that's a great complement to a lot of treatments.
That's exactly right. For things like that, I know that frankincense is used a lot. Lavender is used a lot. They have real impact on people and their treatments. And to your point of mind, body, soul, people who go into traditional treatments, I would never say to someone, don't get radiation or chemo, but if you go in and you're super anxious and super stressed out, it just makes it harder on your whole body. So if you can use something holistic to try to help even calm you down and you're feeling, a little bit better going in, you are going to have more positive results.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. There's a lot of research on stress and I think a lot of people say it's the number one killer now just because people get so stressed out on what it does to your nervous system and flips the autonomic nervous system and blah, blah, blah. And, so yeah, anything to de-stress is great. And and I think essential oils is wonderful. And I think a lot of people can find that with them. And also know that they don't want to put citrus in their diffuser before they go to bed because it might keep them up.
Well, it's funny because my daughter loves wild orange. So wild orange, I think, is a little bit of an outlier for citrus because wild orange does have those uplifting benefits, not excitement and energy specifically like peppermint does, but happiness. And it does have those emotionally uplifting benefits. But wild orange also has some grounding properties to it. So it's a great alternative for someone who maybe doesn't love the smell of lavender. Like I would say wild orange might be really helpful for you. But I also think this is where it's subjective. If you love the smell of wild orange and that's comforting to you, that in and of itself, right, is going to help your body relax, and then you're going to sleep better at night. So it's not, I prefer, the other things that I'm using at night, but I would say, listen, Roman chamomile has been proven to help people sleep better at night. Great. I loathe the smell. I cannot stand what Roman chamomile smells like. So that's never going to help me sleep better at night, because if that's diffusing, I'm like, oh, what is that awful smell? So that's not relaxing for me. So,
I feel totally the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think, like, to some extent, it kind of has to be what you like mixed with, but what I would say to someone in certain circumstances is, okay, so try a drop on the bottoms of your feet. And maybe that, to me, still Roman chamomile is way too strong. Like, I don't even want it on my feet, but I do feel like in someone's diffuser, whatever works for you,
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that's what we need to stress is, again, what you said, if it doesn't work the first time, try something else.
Right. Be open to understanding that.
So how have essential oils benefited your life?
Oh my God. I mean, people laugh at me. The minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, I'm not even joking. First of all, I literally quit a 20+ year career as a senior producer running live news shows to pursue this avenue instead. I mean, that's a pretty significant impact in my life. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's my go-to for everything. I was never a natural wellness person. And it was a strange transition for me in the beginning, even before I was doing it as like a job, but just even using them, it just kind of didn't fit with who I identified out as a person. But I love the idea. I would say the biggest impact and benefit that it's had in my life is that I love the idea that I don't have to rely on everything over the counter all the time. I love that no matter what's going on, I have some kind of an oil that can do something for us. And I am 100% open to traditional Western medicine. As I mentioned, my dad's a doctor. Like, I will absolutely take Tylenol if I need to and whatever else. But I like the idea that I can go to something else first. Mm-hmm. And I can try something first. And you know what? 80% of the time, 85% of the time, I don't need to take that next step. That's probably the biggest significant impact that it's had on my life, is like, I have this whole kind of medicine cabinet now of all of my go-tos. And I love also that my kids will come to me. I have teenagers and they'll come to me and say, like, I have a stomach ache. What oil should I use? I would rather that than, Pepto. Okay, if you need to take Pepto, I'm not judging anybody. Mm-hmm. Just saying, like, I would rather not. So I just think there's too much of a reliance in our society these days on just everything over the counter. And then everything has a side effect. And then you need something for that. And then you need something for that. And the next thing you know, you're taking 17 different things. But I don't know, if you tried something natural in the beginning, it might have targeted the actual cause easier, faster, and better. And then you wouldn't need to keep going on. There's no side effects using, a certified pure therapeutic grade essential oil. There's no side effects. There's no addiction. You don't have to worry about those kind of things. You use 1 or 2 drops to start, and that's generally enough. And if you need to reapply. But I mean, it's like a little goes a really long way. So I love the fact that I feel like I'm doing something good for myself and for my family when I'm using them.
And so what do your children's friends think? Do they say anything to them and say, oh no, just take ginger or something for a tummy ache or whatever?
And no, I don't know that my kids will go that far. And I'm sure their friends sometimes probably laugh at me. But I will say, now that my kids are teenagers, so my daughter carries around a set of like the kids' roller balls. And when she would be at school and when she was like in elementary school and they would sit at a table and they would like have everything in the middle of the table, she would have her oils out on the table and she would share with her friends, which I thought was really cute. So who knows what they thought. But now they're 14 and 16, and there have been, I would say, at least 3 or 4 times where they've had friends over who I guess maybe have commented on the way that, our apartment smells or something. And my kids will bring their friend over into my office and be like, Lena's mom loves doTERRA, or oh my God, or the friend actually has used them in their own home. And so it's actually cute, like that my kids will ask me what they can use for themselves, but with their friends, they're obviously talking about it, because then they'll tell me like which of their friends are using the oils, or can I give them something to give their friends, things like that. So it's cute. They're like, it's their way of life. It's what they know.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Why don't we let Jessica just end with what she wants to say about essential oils?
Okay. Well, as you can see, I'm a talker. So what I would say is no one could be a bigger cynic or skeptic than I was before I started using them. So for anyone out there who is like, this stuff is, it's witchcraft, it's crazy, it's woo-woo, you guys, that was literally me. I mean, I could not have been less interested, and had my own mother not been the one to say to me, I don't know, I tried some of your sister's crazy oils and they actually worked, I literally would never have even tried. So what I would say is it 100%, it depends on the quality of what you're buying, because it is true that if you buy, low grade crappy oils from Amazon or wherever, you're not going to get any of the benefits that you're hoping to get. It just is what it is. So I think if you have to have an open mind, and you have to just be willing to say, I'm going to try it for 5 days or a week. I mean, it can't be the kind of thing where someone's like, I used 1 drop of lavender last night and I didn't sleep better, so I'm never going to try it again. Like, you really do have to be open-minded about it, I think. That's probably my biggest messaging. Like I said before, I think it's really important to buy from someone who knows what they're doing so they can help guide you to what you want. And, like I said, kind of be open to it. The first one might not be the one, but there is one out there. There is a combination out there. And so I really feel like they're life-changing. People didn't used to do acupuncture. When I was growing up, if one of my parents' friends said they were going to go get acupuncture, everybody would have thought they were crazy. There's a reason why Eastern medicine has been around for hundreds of years. And that's what essential oils are.
Oh, that's very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you for the interview. It was very nice meeting you.
You're so welcome. It was nice meeting you too. And my company is Be Hip and Healthy.
Yes.
So, which I didn't get a chance to say, but yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
It. Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. And again, we want to hear from you guys. We always want to hear from you guys. Please, please, please reach out to us. And here are just a few ways that you can do that. You can reach out via Instagram and Facebook. Find us at Salty About Health. Even Snapchat at Salty Health. You can email us at saltyabout.health@gmail.com. Or if you just want to find all that in one place, check out our website, saltyabout.health.com. We've got all the ways for you to listen and connect there. And finally, if you like what you hear today, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. We really appreciate it. So, Mom, if they want to hear from you on social media, where can they find you?
Okay, I am a certified health coach and I do coach one-on-one. So if you're interested, you can contact me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com. I also do research for people who are interested in finding alternative approaches to do in conjunction with the health issue or illness their doctor is treating them for. So again, just reach out to me at mary@feedyourselfhealthy.com or follow me on Twitter at feedyourselfhealthy, which is spelled FEEDURSELFHLTHY. That's where they can find me.
Cool. Okay. And if you guys want to find me, I'm not a health coach, but I'm on Instagram hanging out there at Dalaney.a. Find out how to spell my name in the show notes and everything. And of course, I'll be the one mainly keeping an eye on the social media. So Always happy to chat with you guys via the Salty Network. Also, just want to shout out our intro and outro music. It is by Yule, and you can find her at www.yulearts.com. That's EULARTS. You can also find her on Instagram at Yule_arts or Spotify and YouTube. Check her out. Her piano music and everything else is amazing. And until next time, stay salty.
Stay salty.